couple other things, Rob, I wanted to bring up. One was I wanted your opinion on, because I know you were kind of a follower of Kent Hovind, yeah, or maybe still are.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Can you give me can you kind of background of what you were kind of did that start you down a certain path, and have you been kind of up to date on what he's been kind of talking about now since he got back?
Well, it's got to be pretty weird for him because he was out of the loop for 9 years, and he was totally framed. A lot of people think it was tax evasion, but they're ill-informed. They don't. That's not the truth. He did a show on Canary Cry Radio, which is what introduced me to you, those guys over there. So for people who don't know, they should listen to the interview that Canary Cry Radio did with Kent Hovind on the whole issue why he ended up in prison. But the guy's in prison for like 9 years. And he comes out and he's getting flooded with emails on Flat Earth. Yeah. And all I had when I first saw that this was happening to him, all I could think of was a scene in Return of the Jedi where Han Solo has just come out of carbonite and he's put in the prison with Chewie, and Chewie's talking to him. He goes, "Luke's a Jedi Knight." He goes, "Oh, I'm out of it for a little while. Everybody has delusions of grandeur, That's what he's got to be thinking. Wait, I'm out of it for a little while. What the heck's happened? Everybody's talking about flat Earth, So, I was kind of cracking up about that, but he came through my little Baptist church in Chicopee, Massachusetts, probably 25 years ago, you
actually saw him?
Oh yeah, I met him a long time ago.
Okay.
And he does a whole series on creationism versus evolution. It's outstanding. Yeah. And he had like this shows you how far back it goes. He had a 12-part VHS set.
Yeah.
That I got, and I had dubbed the VHS to audio cassette so I could listen to it in my car back in the cassette days. Mm-hmm. And so he was real big on all that stuff. He taught me a lot of things regarding taking the Bible literally and things like that, which is what got me in trouble with this flat Earth thing, because as soon as I started to apply all those concepts that I was raised with regarding the Bible, I cannot get around the fact that it describes a snow globe. And so when he came out of prison and people started sending him stuff on it, I was like, because he's real big on saying you should take the Bible literally. Yeah. And even more specifically, the King James, which, the King James only group out there, you're hosed. If you're going to continue to say this is the authority of truth and you could take it absolutely literally, well, especially in the King James, you're in the snow globe, dude. I mean, because you can't take it literally and come up with a spinning heliocentric globe. There's no way you can. So, he's a very dogmatic, very stubborn, and I would say I probably am too. Once I'm locked into something that I believe to be true, you're going to be hard pressed to convert me to something different from what I believe. And he even said that in one of his. He's been doing a lot of YouTube videos since he's been out of prison, just from his home, and he even said, "Look, this is what I believe. This is what I firmly believe, and you're not going to change my mind and my completely."
That's a pretty good impression, by the way.
My completely humble and unbiased opinion, So when I listen to that, I'm going, I'm not ever going to be able to convince him, and neither are hardly anybody else out there. I would imagine he's just going to have to get honest with the text and look at it from an unbiased opinion as best you can, because he would make a point in the creation series that he did of absolutely demolishing the public textbooks, the science textbooks on the evolution thing.
Yeah.
But then when he said, regarding the Earth and geocentricity is hand in hand with flat Earth. And so, he was addressing questions on geocentricity versus heliocentricity and, of course, the flat Earth stuff. And he's like, we've all seen in the textbooks. I'm like, wait, the same textbooks? He's saying we've all seen the pictures in the textbook. I'm like, you mean the same ones that you spent your entire career debunking?
Yep.
So you got to give the guy time, and if he's willing to look into it, I think he'll be a powerful force in this.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, what you just said there, give him time. I actually put that in one of his videos in the comment section on YouTube, because with the one where he was asked when he came out, and I actually thought about that thing too, the Han Solo remark, because when he comes out, he's sitting there, and I felt bad, because what did you expect him to say? Right. Honestly, he just got out, right. And he's being asked this, and I'm sure his initial response is, Wait, flat Earth.
Can I ask you a question?
Who?
John.
Rob. Oh,
Rob. This is John speaking. I thought you
no,
were saying
I know
who
that.
is
It's just who you're.
How many people are on this call? You bring up a good point. You just had me wondering. Now, we're just three Americans that are talking about this, and I guess I have two questions. One, are people like us in America pushing the flat Earth theory more than other parts of the world? And two, you bring up the Bible. How do Muslims and other people believe, or do you know?
But yeah, there's something funny about that, because some of you guys and some of your listeners may have seen a YouTube video out there with a Muslim cleric saying that the Quran says that we're in a snow globe. Basically, I mean, he doesn't use those words, but he describes the Earth effectively as a snow globe. That the Quran teaches that, and so. In fact, I've had some people on my YouTube, as well as in the comment section on my Testing the Globe, saying, this is all from Islam, and why are you siding with Islam? I'm like, wait a minute. The Bible predates Islam by several hundred years. So this didn't come from Islam. Now, Islam, as far as the Quran goes, they call it, their word for our Bible is the book. And at least in the earlier sections of the Quran, they pay a great deal of respect to the people of the book and the book itself, and highly regard prophets like Moses and others. And these are the guys who are describing the snow globe. So as far as the Muslims goes, they're Johnny come lately to this as far as religious texts go. The Bible long predates that, but no, we're not the only ones. There's quite a few guys over there in the UK. And I think in Australia as well, out there talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
Let me chime in briefly on this. And South Africa, of course, and New Zealand, but to your point, the NASA has always been the whole concept of NASA has always been more skeptical outside of the United States. So I think in many ways they would have been way quicker to jump on this, because it would have validated the rumors and whispers of what they've been doing for a long time, what they've been saying for a long time. And I'll use the James Bond movie, Sean Connery, one of his later ones, Diamonds Are Forever, I think.
Yeah.
Where that's all done in the UK, where it is not just a little nudge and a wink. It is a blatant slap backhand in the face, where Sean Connery is escaping the bad guys, and he's running through a Hollywood movie studio, and he's running through a fake movie set, and it's got NASA logos everywhere. And the inside joke, which was great, was they go grab him, right? And the astronauts can't catch him because they have to stay in character, so they're running after him in slow motion, and they can't get to him, and he steals their moon buggy and runs away. And I thought that was brilliant. So yeah, I think other countries absolutely think outside of the United States. Oh yeah, I think they'd be way quicker to believe this, because why would you believe NASA? So anyway, sorry, go on, Jonathan.
Well, no, not just NASA, but I'm wondering. Well, the reason I ask is because there's so much turmoil right now in the Middle East. Like, when hasn't there been?
Yeah.
But does this give whoever discloses it, that country, a geopolitical advantage over other countries by now saying, okay, well, we discovered it, kind of like Columbus discovering America, so we're told. Therefore, we're going to set the rules of engagement, or where we go from here.
Interesting thought.
It would benefit anybody that wasn't the United States, I think, because the United States was the one that propagated the lie to begin with. And if you're gonna go down that road, the Chinese can't do it, the Japanese can't do it, the European Space Agency can't really do it. It'd have to be, if it was going to be any one country, it'd have to be outside of the main NATO powers. Maybe
Well, I'm just thinking, what body do we know of that already uses the flat Earth as their logo that would disclose it?
I see what you're going. I see what you're doing there.
But do you see my point with all this? Because we're talking about the religious aspect of it and what the Bible confirms or states, and now like Rob just said about Islam or Muslims belief with the snow globe. But now it's like, wait a minute, they were always talking about the beast, the coming of the beast and the Antichrist and the world powers and all that. And I'm thinking, well, if they now say that the world is flat, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, no, I think you got something there. As a matter of fact, I didn't even think about that much when I was doing the clue. In one of the clues, when I was kind of hinting on how this thing could get revealed, I mentioned that the UN did it, and I wasn't really thinking of them at the time. I was just like, well, yeah, wouldn't that be a good thing? Because if you're going to do something internationally, you'd announce it at the UN. And what you're saying is that they may be the default people to, if anything's going to be revealed, that they would be the group. because who else would you pick?
Well, at this point, because everybody would be like, well, why does NASA get to make the rules again? Why does there have to be another Cold War situation?
Yeah.
So now, if it's a world body, they're going to present it like, all right, listen, the next frontier is space, and we can't have the problems we've had here on Earth, having our separate differences. So therefore, we made this, world body, space, organization.
Yeah, and that would be, I hate to say it, but that's a clever plot twist, because they already have, excuse me, they already have the flag.
Yeah.
So I mean, they could say, look, we always knew we were trying to, for your own good type of thing. We were always trying to protect you. We were always on your side. Because, yeah, if any one nation tried to come out and do it, there would be a bias from, this huge bias from all over the place.
Now, here's the excuse. Here's the narrative, too. I mean, if you look at the events the last 30 years, the current events, including this Pope who's pretty liberal and yet progressive at the same time, they're going to roll it out and say, look, we had to consider everybody in the world, and that includes religion, that includes the economy. We didn't want anything to collapse. Okay, so they can even blame the collapse on it that's coming, the financial collapse. Yeah. And when they present it that way, they can then connect the dots for everybody to mentally draw a picture and say, oh, yeah, if you had revealed this in the 70s, we might all freak out. Or any other time would have been premature, and that they possibly took other avenues. I mean, I'm writing a cover story for the New World Order, so that makes me the shill, right? But I'm saying, no, we're talking about 7 billion people in the world, and sometimes I think when we talk in the first person, to say, I believe this, we kind of are a little insensitive to other people's beliefs. You know what I'm saying? I'm not defending or condoning those that, Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? I mean, this is a world issue now, and to now say that it's flat on top of it all.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've had many people ask me, and I've been I haven't been shy in telling them, it's like, look, if you wanted to, and I'm going to play the devil's advocate here, not the devil himself, but if you want to create a new world order, and we'll turn it back to Rob here in a second. If you want to create a new world order, you'd want to wait until something like social media was in place, not just the internet and not just high speed internet, but social media, because it's instant and it's addictive and everybody's in it. Social media is so intertwined, and there's multiple levels of it. So because you want to control the message of what's going out there, not just control the message, but control it instantly. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and I want to say one more thing before Rob talks. Rob, when you bring this, like, I'm not here to challenge even the Bible too or Christian beliefs. I'm just saying that those of us that do believe, or if we, you believe the Bible, really, you don't have to worry either way, because you're already doing what you believe. You know what I'm saying? If God appears or the Bible, plays out exactly the way it says it will, then you as a Christian are going to prosper anyway, because you were a Christian. But what I'm saying is, from a social structure, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's other things that I think need to unfold first. And how do you take care of everybody in that process?
I got you.
Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly.
You might be.
Like, no, if you're a Christian and you sit back and do nothing,
yeah,
right, and it plays out, then you win by default.
Well, this is what's interesting, because there's sort of lines are being drawn in the sand here, because I as a Christian, with a very public ministry, and talking about flat Earth, all of the other, not all, but the vast majority of the other guys out there who are aware of who I am, and I've traveled in some of the same circles some of these other guys do. I'm the village idiot in the crowd.
Okay.
I'm the freaking Fruit Loop, freak out there talking about flat Earth, and it's like, we got to make this guy disappear because he's giving us a bad name, kind of thing.
Right.
So there's all these hit pieces coming out in blogs and Facebook posts and YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff, where these other quote unquote ministries are out there assaulting mine, and what I'm saying is, and when I said it on John's show the other day, and I posted this on my Facebook page, I'm like, look, if you're going to say you believe the Bible and you're going to say you take it literally, then do so. Otherwise, don't say that. Because all I'm trying to do is do exactly what I've always said, that I believe it and that I can take it literally. So, I'm just, there was a website out there that did a blog, and it said, okay, fundamentalists, have the courage of your convictions. In other words, if you're going to say you're a fundamental Bible-believing Christian and you believe it is true and you're going to take it literally, then do so.
Yeah.
Don't make all the excuses for why you're not going to.
I have a point before Jonathan chimes in again, and that is I want to ask you, Rob, because I think it's very, very interesting because I grew up with very similar Christian backgrounds, and I think and if you're a big, let's put it this way, I followed the Book of Revelations for a long time. And the people that follow, you know this as well as anybody, the speculation on the Book of Revelations runs, in all sorts of directions, and it gets pretty wild sometimes because the Book of Revelations is very, very dynamic and active book. A lot of stuff happens. It's the Act 3 of Act 3s, and people you can talk about that all day long. And it's like, 100-pound hailstones and the seven scrolls and the trumpets and the moon turning, all the different stuff that happens. But no, as soon as you bring up flat Earth, no, that's nuts. Everything else you talk about, every other story in Scripture, you can. I'm preaching no plan words. I'm preaching the choir here, but everything else is fair game except for that, and okay. I think that's amazing to watch.
Well, Revelation, depending on what kind of denominational background you come from, it's taken from everything from a preterist view, which is it's already happened. The historians will say, this stuff was all fulfilled by 70 A.D. Yeah. Then you'll have others that will take everything completely, totally symbolic. It's all allegorical. And to be fair, a lot of it is written that way. However, my position has been I'm going to take it literally unless it tells me not to. For instance, when Jesus says, I'm going to tell you a parable, well, okay, he's telling you an allegorical story. He's going to use metaphor. Yeah. When John sees this weird freaky beast with 7 heads, it's a strange looking thing, but then an angel shows up and says, okay, by the way, John, this is what it means. So usually when the Bible is speaking in symbolic or allegorical, metaphorical terms, it tells you that it's doing so. And so unless another character shows up and tells me that that's how I should take it, I'm going to take it literally. And the problem is when you get to the Book of Revelation, especially as it pertains to this particular issue, right off the bat, you get into problems like Revelation 1:7. Behold, he cometh with the clouds, and every eye shall see him.
Yep.
Okay, every eye. That's everybody who has eyeballs going to see him when he shows up. And I created a meme a while back on Facebook with the globe and Jesus appearing on the other side of the globe, and I put a circle over.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
I put a circle over the continent of Africa, which is the side facing, you. And I said, explain to me how exactly is that going to work out for these guys? Because millions of them still don't yet have TVs, iPhones, and the internet yet. And I know because I was a missionary for 6.5 years, and I've been to places where they don't have these things, and there's still lots of places that don't have them. So even if he shows up on that side of the globe, then how are the people in Central and South America, in places like that going? It's not going to work. And they said, well, maybe he's got a round trip around the world. Look, it doesn't say that. From my reading of it, he's got a direct flight from the clouds to the Mount of Olives. So, you got a big problem. But that's a minor problem. Yeah. You have a whole lot of apocalyptic text, like in the book of Isaiah, talking about in chapter 34, verse 4, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, like as a leaf falls from a vine, and a fig falling from a fig tree. Yep. Wait, what? You're telling me the stars and the galaxies and nebulas and all that stuff is all going to fall to earth? Maybe I misinterpreted Isaiah. Okay, fine. Then when you get to Peter, 2 Peter 3:10, it says, the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Revelation 6:4, the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. And then the best one is you got Jesus in Matthew chapter 24, beginning in verse 24 through 31, talking about great signs in the heavens and stuff like that. Verse 29, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Revelation 6:13, and the stars of heaven fell onto the earth. Okay, if the universe is as Carl Sagan and Neil deGrasse Tyson and all these guys, if that paradigm is true, we've got a big problem when Betelgeuse and Arcturus and Pollux and Andromeda are headed our way.
Well, by your description right there, it sounds like somebody hit the glass ceiling and it all came crumbling down.
Bingo.
Well, bingo. And this is the thing that because this is a whole paradigm shift. I mean, once your eyes are open to this, you're going, well, yeah, but you play all the yeah, but games, and as you start looking through the yeah, but game and trying to figure out how is that going to work. Like for instance, I read to the stars are all going to fall to the earth. I mean, you got Isaiah saying it, you got Peter saying it, you got John, you got Jesus Christ himself, Yeshua, the Son of God, saying it. Okay, so these are some pretty powerful witnesses if you believe the Bible is true.
Yeah.
And so, and when you got the Creator himself saying, "Yep, the stars are going to fall to Earth," that's not going to. First of all, are you telling me? We got the NASA coming out with Earth 2.0. We found another Earth in the Goldilocks zone, and blah blah blah. Yeah. So you're telling me all of these other potential Star Trek civilizations in the universe are all going to be burned up because of my sin? Okay. Really? You run into some really crazy problems when you start going down that path, and even worse when you think about cosmologically. These, if all those stars are up there are suns like our sun with planets going around them, then when they start coming towards us, that's a bad day for everybody.
And can I just say one thing? What I was trying to bring up, the reason I brought it up is because I'm seeing, and as you all know, the infighting between the flat Earth community, right, with just different factions. I'm just wondering how this now presents to anybody who's challenged by Christianity to then look into it and say, oh, well, this is a Christian thing now. It's not, you know what I mean? Across the board.
I don't consider it a Christian thing. I mean, yeah, you're right, because there's some people that put the flat Earth into two camps. They either put it into...
Yeah, I'm not saying it's that way. I'm just saying by what Rob's saying, or you know what I mean?
Well, it's not just a Christian thing, because, well, first of all, it would be more of a Hebrew thing.
There you go.
Because we're talking in the Old Testament, before Christianity, it's in your face, flat Earth, enclosed, snow globe. Yeah. But it's not just the Hebrews, because if you start looking into the ancient texts of the Babylonians, the Sumerians, the Egyptians, and even the Greeks,
true.
In the pre-Hellenistic kind of time frame, in the early Greek understanding, you still got the snow globe. Same thing in the Scandinavian, Norwegian, the Asgard, Thor, all that stuff. I mean, it is a worldwide understanding in the ancient